Baby, let's just dance, dance. Let's just dance, baby. I just wanna dance, 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 dance. Can you feel it? Can you take it? Can you come and breathe it? All of this electricity, do it right now, right now. Turn the volume up loud, give me your electricity.
Welcome back to the bar. These are your two favorite bitches. Christi, I'm bitch number one, I think by default.
Not Kelly, bitch number two, because I deserve to be second.
No,
You've
second
definitely been first bitch so far.
Second is the first to lose. I don't know if you've ever heard.
Oh, I've heard that. I don't care. I like to lose being a bitch.
Yeah, well, I'm a bitch. But look, we have a third bitch with us today.
We do.
Hello, you little bitch.
Mr.
Hi.
James.
Hello, I'm bitch number 3, I guess, for the purposes of today.
Today. Actually, you were bitch number 3 for quite some time, if I do recall correctly.
Yeah.
It's very true. Almost
You
an entire
were-
year.
You were a fun little partner in crime back in the day.
I know. Well, I was talking to Brooke this morning and I'm like, I'm filming this afternoon. And I said, James is coming on. And she's like, oh, I loved him.
Yeah.
There's not many people on the show that Brooke would say that about. So that is definitely a good thing.
Yes.
Very
So
true.
James, before we get into thanking our Patreons, so James is one of our producers from the show. Do you want to tell us I don't know exactly what your title was. What did you have a specific producer title? I don't know.
Yes, I was the supervising field producer,
I don't know what
which
that.
technically on a show that was better staffed, I would be in charge of a team of producers that would go out and as far as setting up locations and making sure that everyone's released to be on camera and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Given that we were a ragtag, small and lean team, there wasn't a lot of actual supervising that happened. It was more like, hey,
You were a producer.
James, go find a location and then get it cleared. And then then you guys would show up at location and I
Bring
would kind
these
of
bitches to the location.
That's exactly it.
and then
And-
we'd talk about what the scene was and, all that fun stuff.
And were you just with us on season 2?
I did. Remember season 2 was technically season 2 and season 2.5.
Yes,
Oh.
we had a lot of those. Let's drag out your contract.
The drag out your contract season. So
Uh-huh.
basically you were with us for 465 weeks.
It was almost a full year.
Right. I remember. It was
Yeah.
terrible. Not you, just the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough because it's I landed in Pittsburgh right after Halloween, I think.
Mhm. Yep. That's exactly when we started filming.
Then I was in Pittsburgh off and on. We came back a couple times to LA. And then I was in Pittsburgh, I think, until the next August, September.
Yeah, we were there. Kelly and I talk all the time. Kelly and I, we talk about sitting in airports on December 23rd,
Yeah.
we make Christmas happen. So it was a tough schedule. And that's something that we always talk about is how tough that schedule was. But before we get into all of that fun, let us take care of a few housekeeping issues and then we'll get into all the fun. Because again, we don't invite very many people on here. This is a very exclusive bitch club. So consider yourself privileged, honored, and special.
Oh, I do. And especially with my 2 favorite bitch moms.
Always.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to start off by thanking our Patreon subscribers this week. These are people who went over to patreon.com/backtothebar and subscribe to our exclusive content that you can only find on Patreon. And Cal, the list just keeps going on and on and on.
I know. It's never ending.
Never ending, but I do have to say, if you do go over to Patreon, you're going to have access to all of the month's worth of content that's already there. So there's so much stuff. So if you need an overdose of Christi and Kelly, this is the place to go. I swear.
Bring on
All
the
right.
alcohol. You're going to need
bring
it.
on the alcohol for sure. So we're going to thank Amelie, Haley, Alyssa, Ulani, Lauren, Izzy, Maura, Rachel, Tay, Maisie, Carly, Sam, Carrie Ann, Megan, Allison, Grace, Ava, Victoria, Dimia, Zach, Megan, Emily, Audrey, Houston, Rachel, Karina, Alex, Jackie, Kayla, Alexis, Megan, Brooklyn, Tiana, Katrina, Kyla, Heather, Allison, Grace, Skylar, Ashley, Sadie, Juliana, Lauren, Haley, Fiona, Michaela, Bryn, Carrie, Valentina, Brittany, Jamie, L, Matt, Megan, Josie, Riley, Kaylee, Peyton, Teresa, Danielle, Riley, Hannah, Aaron, Karina, Tessa, Shannon, Bailey, Alex, Caitlin, Desiree, Guinevere, Jordan, Mira, Adriana, and Emily. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Kelly, what are you drinking?
Well, I wanted to see if James would remember.
Uh-oh. Does it say mommy?
My
tea?
menage a trois. You remember that? You guys used to buy me cases of this shit. And I have a funny story. I don't know if you were there, but somebody was talking about like a menage a trois or something on like the PAs or something. And Paige says, "Oh, my mom loves that." They were talking about the different kind of menage a trois, and Paige was talking about my wine.
Yes.
But that's my favorite.
And if they knew you for 1 minute, they knew that you did not like
It was not the menage a trois I was talking about, but yes, so cheers. I'm having menage a trois. In the good old dance moms days.
What are you drinking, James? Did you show up with a cocktail because you know better?
Yes.
Great.
In keeping with the part of the overarching theme of today's episode, I'm having a Manhattan.
There you go. You go, boy.
Love that.
I had what did I have the other day? I had an old fashioned. Oh my God, I could barely drink the thing. I was like touching it to my lips. Like we were filming at like 10 a.m. and I'm having like an old fashioned. But someone made it for me to use.
Oh my God. Well, that thing was awful.
Oh my God, I couldn't drink it.
I could smell it through the computer.
I know, it was bad.
It was horrific.
Yeah.
It was horrific. I have my albuterol inhaler. That's part of my little high today.
I got one sitting here too.
Yeah, 'cause I cannot breathe. This is killing me. I just have I was gonna get a hurricane, but this is not that episode. So I just got
It looks like water.
I'm
thinking you're cheating. You got water.
Diane, she's in the background. Am I cheating?
What's that?
This is a vodka soda, not water.
It's vodka soda.
I literally cleared my chest when I took my first sip. I was like, whoa.
Okay. It'll make you feel better. You should have had a hot toddy.
I
That's
don't
good
want a
for
hot
you.
toddy. Do you remember that time that bitch made us drink hot toddies?
I like them. I like them. But I like tea.
I don't know. Maybe the hot toddy. We got a hot toddy though at Mohan's. They don't know how to make those.
Well, Mohans didn't know how to make a hot toddy. Come on.
Mohans didn't know how to make anything but fried cheese logs, chicken wings.
Fried cheese. Do we get a Mohan's? No, that was last episode. The Mohans.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss Mohans. Oh,
All right.
good times.
Oh, good times. Well, Cal, I was laughing as we were going through and I was watching this episode and I was like, well, it's not wearing a whole lot of headbands. However, she does talk about the Abby Lee Dance Company, like as the Abby Lee Dance Company. And she mentions the Abby Lee Dance Company about
100 times.
billion times. And I was like, maybe we should drink for that.
I saw a lot of fur too.
There's a lot of fur.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
fur.
defensive fur.
So James, you might need a chaser for that drink because you're going to be drinking a lot there, buddy.
There are
Might
certain
need to,
times-
might need to
Don't have any
downgrade.
plans this afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are we
So-
ready to take this on?
Yeah. So we're on episode 2 or season 2, episode 13, and it's called Abbygeddon. But we are in New York City and they show us walking down the street and we're going into the dance studio that we're filming at. And may I say that we all have a carpet bag.
Yes.
Do you remember our carpet bags,
Yeah.
James?
Oh, I
Them
totally remember
ugly
the carpet
things?
bags.
Yes. We all have
But
one
it
of those as we're
was
walking.
Brent who used to say, why do you guys always carry carpet bags?
Yeah. We liked them. I still use mine.
Do you?
I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're handy for you guys for all the stuff you had to carry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, I have a question. Was Brent a cameraman yet in this season?
Yeah.
So is this when I brought my cousin to be a nanny for Clara in New York City? Was Clara there? Was this then? I think
I
it
can't
was
remember if
later.
it was this. I think it was the second time.
We went to New York
Yeah.
because Brent liked my cousin. He kept saying,
Yes.
like, where is she? And I was like, "She's babysitting."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So go on. I'm gonna take a hit of my albuterol. You go ahead.
Okay, so we see Abby in interview, and she's telling us that we're in New York City to attend an audition for the Joffrey Ballet School. And then Abby's clapping, yelling for us to let's go get into the studio. So all the girls come in, and she tells them that this is big time, that they are at the dance mecca of the world, and that everybody that they pass on the street has probably taken a dance lesson at some time in their life.
And you can tell what time it is on her watch ring because she has like a little ring that has a watch face on it.
Oh, really?
Next to her watch, she has a watch on and then a watch ring. And it's both blue plastic rhinestone shit.
Oh, of course.
There was a lot of very chunky jewelry happening.
Yes,
I
there was
noticed
There was a ring pop situation. There was
Yes.
the whole nine.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she tells the girls that lots of kids can win competitions and crowns, but there's only a handful of them that make it in the industry. So then she goes on and talks about last week's competition, and she says that the group routines won't win until everyone is at the same level. And then they show a flashback of last week's award ceremony, and when we thought we won first place.
for
but we
nip tuck.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the girls were like, oh,
Whose
What is
phone's
that?
buzzing?
James,
Sorry.
Yours, James.
I'm turning it off. I'm
bottom
trying.
of the pyramid.
I'm totally at the bottom of the pyramid. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Obvi.
Sorry, I thought I got all the notifications.
You're okay.
Abby found out you were on here. She's threatening to see.
Yeah.
See, right?
But Abby says that we need to be in unison for the choreography. And then she says on her interview that last week the girls lost again and that they weren't dancing together and they need to bond as a group.
Or we need to have more time to practice a dance.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
But she
That
tells
generally
them,
helps.
yeah,
What?
she tells them that the group dance is more important than the solos. So I don't know if she thinks you guys spend too much time on solos, because ain't my kids. They ain't got no solos usually. So I'm thinking that was at you.
But wait, what were the watercolor? But I'm pretty sure she spent all of her time on Maddie's solo because the Joffrey judge was there. Remember, it was all about
I
her
don't
impressing the
remember.
Joffrey guy.
Yeah.
But we had the two trios.
Yeah.
So James, you didn't have to watch that bullshit. This is the one where we did nip tuck.
The one thing I can remember about the Nip Tuck episode was weren't the Miami dance moms, weren't they there for that one?
Oh, I don't know. We
Maybe
were in
they
Miami.
on
Were we in
camera.
Miami?
No, there was one Michigan competition we went to that the Miami dance moms came up, and we were like,
We must not have did that one yet because, unless they just didn't show them.
Yeah, they
Maybe.
didn't show them on this.
Yeah, we didn't see them on there.
but the main thing I can remember was it was like an hour and 20 minutes outside of Detroit, this particular location.
Yeah.
And the hotel, I believe, was refurbished in 1985 last.
Mhm.
And whoever had my room smoked a lot of Winstons.
Oh.
So
We always had very classy motels.
No,
Soup's
wait a minute.
classy.
This was the motel outside of Detroit, right? It was like a hardcore motel. Was it this one?
I think it was that one, yeah. then-
That was the place that I had Nia, Chloe, and Paige. They were hanging out in my room and they had those giant laptops with their like names on the cover.
Yeah.
And they were sitting in my room and they were like, we should Google ourselves. And they Googled themselves and they're like, there's a lot of pictures of us. And then they started Googling. They're like, Google my friend, like Maddie from, not Maddie Ziegler, but like Maddie from school. And they're like, oh, she's not up. There's not a lot about Maddie. I'm like, you freaks, you're on TV. Like they didn't.
That's funny.
They did.
Let me just say that those large computers that you were talking about, that is one of the computers I'm using. Well, it's not theirs, but mine. I bought them at the same time.
That's why you still look like you are.
I'll be quiet. I got my new one. I have to wait for Brooke to hook it up.
Yeah, you don't know how to work it. Okay. We're not very tech savvy on this podcast, James. I don't know if you could tell.
All good.
Look,
Okay,
you're not here for our tech savvy. You're here for our charm and good looks.
Exactly.
Right,
So then we go to our fun pyramid. And of course, Paige is at the very bottom. And
What?
she said,
that never happens.
oh no. But here's what I get. She fixed her arms. She had one correction to fix her arms, and she did fix those arms, but she was on her phone.
Right.
So that's why she's at the bottom of the pyramid. Okay.
Meanwhile, Chloe forgot her dance on stage.
Chloe forgot her dance, and Nia did something like all of them did something wrong in the dance. Paige did not, but she's at the very bottom because she was on her cell phone. Meanwhile, I can guarantee you every one of those girls were on their cell phone.
She always comes up with dumb shit for Paige, always.
Uh-huh. But you see me rolling my eyes as Abby's saying it. And I spoke up and said, she gets no credit for doing her back tuck or her press. It's her phone. And Abby says, credit? And she applauds like sarcastically, like with her miserable ass face. And then I'm in the interview and I said that Paige did great in the group number, and Abby doesn't give her enough credit. Abby sticks Paige in the back and ignores her. And I don't know. I say, I think that Paige can hold her own. But
I
if I can step in.
a stepping jacket.
God, step in, James.
So the behind the scenes moment here is part of what my job as a producer was I would take notes of like what happened every day. And then I would conduct interviews after we'd filmed the week.
Yeah.
So generally, as you both know, my interviews were Christi, Kelly, sometimes Dr. Holly, Abby, and then like a lot of times I would do Chloe, Paige, and Brooke because I felt like Brooke, Paige, and I we were pretty good. We were pretty close. So I was able to like work with them and not have it sound, because there's an art to the interview where it's like you have to like remind people of what happened and to get them to like talk about the events to make it sound natural and
in present.
I always sucked at interview.
You did not suck at interview. You were actually good at interview, but
oh gosh,
I know it's I mean, it's a grueling process though, because like you guys would be in the chairs for an hour and a half each week.
I was in the chair for like 3 and 4.
I mean, yeah, you talked a lot though, so that was a good thing. It was a good thing for us, but you know, for you, it
sucked for me because I was out there waiting to come in.
Yeah. Well, James, we had talked about before, one of the hardest parts of an interview is trying to put yourself back and talk about it in present tense. Because when things happen naturally as a human, you talk about it
in past tense. Yeah.
So you'd be like present tense, like interrupting. And I've actually said this a couple of times on the show. Personally, for me, in my opinion, my season 2 interviews are some of my very best because you and I had a really fun rapport. And so you would get me to say shit that I would not really say, like, because we would be bantering about things and I would give like 17 riffs of something. For instance, the gift that I would give Abby, I think I had said things like I put a chain around her refrigerator, a padlock, or a wire her jaw shut. And it was Weight Watchers, the gift that kept on giving that was used. Because it was like, what would you give her to help her lose weight or something like that? And so, you know what I mean? Like, that's why my interviews were funny then, because you and I had fun doing it.
Yeah.
That we did. But anyway, so I decided to step in for that little thing.
But what were you going to say about it? You wanted to say, did you want to say behind the scenes about what Abby had said about, or Kelly had said about Paige?
Yeah, I'm just like kind of like setting it up, but it was also from the producer perspective. What we would do is we would have to go in and talk with Abby, like what she wanted to do with the pyramid. And
so Abby got to pick. So it really wasn't like because seriously, Paige didn't mess up and 3 of the other girls did. So why would Paige be at the bottom?
I have no earthly idea. But yeah, no, Abby
Abby
didn't.
decided that.
Abby generally did not. The one time, I mean, there are several times when we had fights with Abby about where she wanted to put people in the pyramid, just because like, I don't think anyone would be surprised that she was predisposed to just say Maddie's the best every
Mhm.
week. And we'd be like, well, you can't, there needs to be levels. Like
Yeah.
we have to like,
Change it up.
sometimes it has
Yeah.
to be changed up a little bit, because otherwise it's just kind of
Boring. Yeah.
complete bullshit where you're like, oh. So the one fight I remember having was when I was adamant that Paige had to be at the top of the one pyramid, because I think she was
Yeah.
only in the top once, right?
Yeah, I think it was when she won that or won her solo.
Yeah.
And I was all like,
Jill Pat.
I was like, Abby, like I can't, like you have to like put Paige at the top of the pyramid this week. Like it's not a.
I mean, it seems stupid otherwise. Yeah, like I think this seems stupid because she's on the bottom and 3 people did something wrong. Like it just makes no sense. Just right there shows like favoritism.
Yeah.
You know?
As if we need more supporting evidence, but sure.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have Mackenzie on the bottom row, and Abby says, you can improv if it's early in the music with the solo, but a trio, you need to be partners. Then we have Chloe, and she says that it's time to face the music. She forgot her routine.
Yep.
And then we have a flashback of the part Chloe forgot.
I mean the 1, 2, 3 run, that's the part I forgot, but dun dun dun. Yeah.
But she says that you're not 7 anymore. You're 10 years old. You can't make up your own thing. She gets a pink slip. She would get a pink slip if she would be in the unemployment line.
But when Chloe
If this
stopped
was real life.
dancing in Tahoe, didn't she tell her if you forget your dance, just make
Just
something
keep
up?
doing something. Yeah.
Yeah.
She tells everybody that.
Right. So are we going to drink for contradictions? Because that's another fun little drinking game here. You're going to be really drunk, James.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh
You
dear.
have to go get a refill. You have to get a refill soon.
Hey, I gotta be sober enough to go to bingo, people.
Oh,
Bingo
yeah.
What?
night. It's bingo night.
Kelly goes to bingo on Monday nights.
Yes.
Dad.
I won last week.
How much did you win?
Well, it's a long story. I won 350, but I gave half to some person that I shouldn't have.
Well, is that you being nice? Or you
I was being nice, but she
Oh.
was being a bitch.
Oh.
Whatever. I gave it to her anyways. But so then we have the middle row. We have Nia, and she was working through her foot injury. Everything worked out, but Abby tells her over and over about her technique that she needs to work on.
dancing with a broken foot? Good job. No, don't mind Diane back there.
I
She's
see her
getting
feet.
fed.
I see your feet. But Abby says to Nia, do you want to fix it? Do you want to make it better? And if she does, then she will. And then there is Brooke. She did what she needed to do, but that's what she always does. She wants more from Brooke.
I love what Brooke says.
Brooke says, I would love to give Abby more, but Miss Abby spends all of her time with the other girls. I think you guys told her to say that.
It sounded like a pickup.
Yeah, because I don't think Brooke would say that. But
That kind of sounds like something that like I said, I was the field supervising producer.
yeah,
There's a post-production supervising producer, and a lot of times they are the ones that
say we need to pick up
say
for
we want
Brooke to say this.
something along these lines.
Yeah.
And they send you the really stupidest, most cheesy lines ever written for human beings. I used to say things to me and I was like, I would never say that. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
So
Yeah.
the other behind the scenes thing is they would send those to me, and then I would repeat it to you on camera. Like, so where it's like I'm
I
behind the
remember
camera,
this, yeah.
and I would say, they want you to say this. I fully recognize that this is the stupidest fucking thing known to man. You would never
Exactly.
say it ever.
But you have to
do
say it
Can you say it in a
in
way
your
that
own
you
words.
might express this?
And I would literally look at you and I would say, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm all
Yeah.
like, the team back in LA wanted to complain to me that I couldn't get you to say something. I'd be all like, well, I tried, and she
Yeah.
didn't say it because it's a stupid fucking line.
It's really stupid. So this is why interview always took long, because James and Kelly and I would be like, that's really fucking dumb. We're not doing it.
Yeah. Or like, I would never say that.
Uh-huh. Just like I would never hire a private investigator for a costume.
Yeah. Okay, so we're on the top row and ta-da, it's Maddie. She says that she challenged Maddie to keep her winning her solos because she picks up so quickly.
I'd like to point out they all pick up quickly, just saying.
Yeah. But you, in your interview, say it's no big surprise. For the 5th week in a row, Maddie reigns supreme at the top of the pyramid.
I must have been hungry for a taco supreme.
So Abby's discussing the Joffrey scout is coming to the dressing room at the end of the competition. And she makes a point to say that they chose the Abby Lee Dance Company. There's what you were talking about, Christi. So in the pyramid, in an interview, Abby talks about the history of the Joffrey School and its prestige, how it's prestigious and everything. And in an interview, she says that if one of my girls would get one of these scholarships, it would be another feather in her cap.
Not that the girl was good.
No.
It would be her. Yeah. Yeah. She tells the girls that there will be an audition. They'll be judged by 3 Joffrey instructors, and that they're going to look at your feet, your turnout, your body lines, everything that you've learned up until this point. So I don't think we've worked on our legs and feet in a long time.
Yeah, I'm just
Probably
saying.
2 years. But
It's tough to take a ballet class when you're filming a hit TV show that you film 4 billion hours a week and you're still going to school. I'm just saying.
yeah. But Abby said the girls need to fight for this. They're going to work on a ballet competition and a presentation for each of the girls to do at the audition. And Abby yells at the girls because, of course, they don't have the proper outfits on. Like, she wanted them to look like ballerinas, but we were just in rehearsal. I mean, we would have never shown up at the Joffrey looking like that.
No. Did you guys know that she was going to go rogue and like, why aren't you wearing that? Well, I know that you never knew when she was going rogue, but was that a point like, let's not tell them to do this and just where she goes with it?
She, if I recall correctly, she had said that because it was the Joffrey, that she would expect that you guys would have
Showing up in
black.
pyramid.
Yeah. And pink tights.
Which I was like,
black leotard and pink tights. Yeah.
But
Which then I
we're
was all like,
thinking,
well-
we're on a show that we always show up in 2-piece booty shorts to look cute for that opening shot.
Yeah. And we weren't at the Joffrey yet. I mean, we were just at practice. So usually you go to practice in whatever you want, but whatever.
I believe at this point we get an amazing eye roll from the best partners in crime ever.
Me and you.
What shall I share it? Because it's pretty iconic.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up. This is one of those moments in time that is just like, you know, whoever is in post just loves to do us dirty constantly. Here we go. And we're sharing. There you have it.
Oh my God, look at me.
We are just
Crazy.
the cutest.
We're just like disgusted.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
All the time. All the time.
Always in a state of absolute disgust.
Yes. But Abby tells us that, you know, we're at a professional dance studio in New York City and that you never know who's going to see them, that they should always look their best. And, you know, she says that their best would be having on pink tights and a black leotard and their hair in a bun.
Their mothers have failed them.
Yes.
obviously.
Clearly.
Yes. Yeah. She says that she wants them to look like ballerinas because the look is half the battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forget those turned out hips. It's all about the bun.
Yeah. Yeah. So Abby tells the girls that mommy's not going to be there and Abby's not going to be in there. So it's up to you. You can either sink or swim, but please don't embarrass me.
No pressure. Do your
Yeah.
best. Good luck, ladies.
I think
Go
she
get 'em.
embarrasses herself, but I don't think she needs the kids to do that. But Chloe says it's a big deal to audition for the Joffrey at a young age. Performing for 3 amazing ballerinas is nerve-wracking compared to doing it for a large audience, like what we're used to at the dance competitions. Then Abby announces that this week, on the top of their audition for the Joffrey, they will be competing a group dance that everybody is in, and it is called Hurt Them First.
Great.
And Maddie has a solo, In My Heart. It's a lyrical dance.
I'm shocked. That never
Are you
happens.
shocked?
I know.
A lyrical
And-
solo for Maddie. I mean, groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking.
Chloe has the second solo, and it is Red Queen, and it is contemporary.
Groundbreaking. Actually, she doesn't always get contemporary, so I was excited for this. Plus, she was obsessed with the Red Queen, so I was actually excited for the solo.
So Abby says that we're going to Paramus, New Jersey to Starbound National Competition. And this is where we got won nationals, right?
That's the competition we won nationals.
Yeah. Yeah. So she really wants us to do good. But me and you are rolling our eyes again.
James, did you guys always intentionally in Pyramid put Kelly and I next to each other so you had a two shot of us just looking like miserable bitches?
I mean, the thing is, you two generally would talk to each other and would interact. So it just makes more sense to have the two of you next to each other as opposed to like if Holly
Melissa
or
was in between
when
us. We would
Melissa,
have
like,
no
then it's like-
reactions. Yeah.
yeah, she's like,
Yes.
and then
Another
the two of you were
reason-
like
Good fucking-
visually reacting to things.
Yeah.
Correct.
So Abby says that the group routine is going to cover serious topics and that we are each going to be in the jail.
But I like when she says it's a serious topic, you go again.
I mean,
It's all-
look, there are some of the very serious topics that Abby constructed dances around that I thought were actually really effective and
Sure.
quite good.
Oh yeah, she had some great choreography and great
Yeah,
ideas.
this
The-
one-
I said that last week when we were filming.
The knockoff from Chicago
Chicago,
was
not one.
not one of the
No.
the-
No, if
all-time
anything, this
best.
is a little foreshadowing of Abby's little stint in prison.
Yeah.
You said it, not me.
Oh, look, I'm just speaking the truth. I'm allowed to say things that are true. It's true. Or we could say it's foreshadowing of Kelly getting arrested in the Bronx. There.
Exactly. You guys must
Yeah.
have known that was coming up.
Hurt them first. You're like, get your finger out of my face.
Okay, so Abby's interview, she says that the group dance is taken from a Broadway show, Chicago. It's watered down for 9 and 11-year-olds, and they're going to be like jailbirds. And you see Paige like laughing and smirking. And then Paige,
her knuckles nervously.
yeah, and Paige goes to interview and says, "It's weird being in jail because I've never been there before." I thank goodness, Paige, you're 11, 10 or 11, I think at this point. But Abby says that Chloe, you just came off of a solo where you forgot your routine. So she needs to get back out on a horse and do another solo. And Abby tells Maddie that because she's undefeated, she will be challenged with another solo. And Abby says this might be our busiest week. You know, because we thought last week was busy. This week is going to be busy. So we go to you and you say that you think Abby bit off a little more than she could chew last week with the trios and solos and group dances. And that this week we're doing group dances and solos and the Joffrey audition. Can't we just focus on one thing? I think we would all have scored and done so much better if we all could focus on one thing.
Sure. I like now is the time for pressure. Unlike every other week that the pressure is on.
Yeah. But she says she's putting a lot of pressure on the girls. And she wants them to understand that they're representing the ALDC and it's 32 years of history and do not blow it. And she's like
Don't
adamant,
blow it.
do not blow it.
James, you know why?
Is it
Who
gonna
had
blow it?
really good feet of the ALDC?
Oh,
Who was really good?
my
What?
absolute favorite. I was obsessed with Katie
Katie Hackett.
Hackett because every time, like, again, behind the scenes, Abby would like go on these like tirades about the girls didn't have the feet and like they need to like channel the spirit of Katie Hackett because Katie Hackett had the most perfect feet known to man. And I'd be like, Abby, no one outside of like Penn Hills, Pennsylvania knows who Katie Hackett is.
Exactly.
No,
Like nobody
I'm
cares.
I'm obsessed with this woman.
You're
Her
like, we
headshots?
cannot use this on TV. No one knows what Katie Hackett's feet are. But
Yeah.
You know what, James? In the studio sale, if she sells Katie Hackett's picture with her foot, I should buy that for you.
Yeah.
Yes, that was.
So you got sick of hearing about that as much as we did.
I mean, everyone did. And like, I met Katie Hackett once, and she's just could not be a nicer woman.
Oh yeah, and she did have
Completely
beautiful
lovely.
feet, but
Like,
Great,
beautiful
she had
feet.
amazing feet, but it was hysterical that you guys knew dancers from like 15 years before that were never anything to do with the show because she talked about them at crazy lengths, like Nia in season 1 with Asmaret.
yeah.
When Asmaret got the role in Book of Mormon, and then I can remember because then Abby went on a 10-minute tirade that Asmaret's feet were not as good during one of the numbers of Book of Mormon, and she wanted to like break the entire thing down, and I was all like, abs, like, love you, ma'am, mean it, but like, no one knows who Asmaret is. We can't discuss the Book of Mormon on TV.
Yeah.
Like, it's, anyways, neither here nor there.
Ah,
I want to know how many hours during the day you spent just trying to rein her in.
Oh,
a lot.
oftentimes that would happen when we would review the pyramid with her, because every week when we were filming the pyramids, those were on Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, mostly.
So like Tuesday afternoon, we'd film the pyramid, then we'd go into like the rehearsals for the week
Yeah.
and everything. And before you guys came in to line up for the pyramid, like we would go through with Abby, like, here's how we see the pyramid this week. This is how you see the pyramid this week. Let's try to
let's
get
compromise.
get to a period of a place of mutual, agreement.
Well, you can see in some episodes when she is just furious about Pyramid, how ragey she is in Pyramid. You can tell, I can tell. And
Yeah.
Kelly and I said it. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
she must be really pissed about Pyramid.
And it's usually like when one of my kids are not on the bottom row.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to ask you, and I should actually ask you this on the Patreon, but I'll ask you this now. Obviously we know that Abby would have given Maddie every dance every week, but as far as the other kids in the dances, you guys really had a say in who had a solo and stuff, or because she wasn't like, ooh, let's give Nia a solo, or, like, right. She didn't care.
We had to fight for some of the other girls to get solos.
Sure.
And to get different solos, because I kind of made reference to it, but it was like Maddie doing lyrical, groundbreaking. But it was like that was a directive that came on from Lifetime, that they're like, I think Lifetime was less than thrilled about this group number because they really wanted to like pull back on the Broadway knockoff things. And this is one of the most blatant, like, this is just Chicago.
Knockoff?
Like it's just like,
It's
you're not
so
fooling
okay,
anybody.
though. The music even sounds like it.
Everything about it is just, so what we would have to do is, and also, it's a TV show and it has to be like all the girls are characters, all the moms are characters. We need to address all those things. So it's like, it is.
Excuse me, James. I didn't like my character.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And I didn't like my girl's character. Can we go back and redo that?
You were a character on the show.
I know. I didn't like my character.
Well,
who picked up for me?
I'll tell you what,
didn't.
once I was in post, like we were visiting, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. We were visiting like in LA, and we were in the editing booth or bay, or, like the editing floor. And I remember seeing somebody reach up and pull a piece of paper off the wall that basically like had our names and what our characters were, because they didn't want me to see it. Like, it wouldn't be that hard to figure out.
No.
Christi, jealous. Kelly, party mom.
Okay, so let's go to Canton, Ohio and see the candy apples.
Moo!
We see Kathy, and she's telling her team that she has a special announcement that they're going to the Joffrey audition in her favorite city in the world, New York. Yay.
Okay.
So Kathy is in an interview, and she says that the Candy Apples has work to do, that they are ready to go against Abby, and they're ready to audition for the Joffrey. Kendall has a full set of eyelashes and stuff on. Yeah. Did you notice that?
Like, yes, I have a note with like a big rhinestone barrette in her hair.
Yes.
Dude, she's doing a solo.
Yeah, she was definitely like duded up.
Do you think that Jill felt like, I don't know, obligated to step up to the plate because Candy Apples always showed up with purple eyeshadow and she felt like, I don't know, pressure? James, did you tell her to do that? Why? Why did she show up that way?
I do not recall telling Jill to Gussie Kendall quite that hard for the visit to Candy Apples. But Kathy definitely had an aesthetic.
Yeah,
It was
yes,
her. It was her thing. And for the time that I was on Dance Moms, I was generally the producer that traveled to Canton to see Kathy and the Apples. So I loved all those kids. I'm still like following some of them on
They're
Instagram,
nice
and
kids.
they're like could not be sweeter. And like the Taylor, the girl who broke her foot,
Broke her ankle, yeah.
It was, I mean, I remember watching it happen. It was like just
Heartbreaking.
like it was so heartbreaking and so hard to watch. And I remember feeling really bad, especially that she didn't at least have the chance to like do the Joffrey audition, because I did have a special place in my heart for her. She and her family were just so nice. But anyways, yes, Kathy did have a
look,
a paint that she liked to apply.
Yeah.
I have to say though, Jill was not wearing a bump and I thought she looked so much better.
Yeah. She has a couple doozy bumps in this one.
That one, the profile of it looked like
Yeah. But Kathy tells her group that they're going to be auditioning at Joffrey, and then they're going to be competing in New Jersey at Starbound. And Kendall speaks up and asks Kathy if Abby's going to be there. And Kathy says, yes, the pressure is on, Miss Kendall.
Pressure being on the girls?
No.
Never happens.
Yeah. But Kathy says it will probably be running into the Abby Lee Dance Company more and more. That's just the way it is. And Kathy thinks that they have better ballet training, which they probably do, because we didn't really do much ballet. Yeah. But I also have to say though, the Candy Apples, they didn't really learn their dances in like 3 days like we did. They had time to learn their dances because they didn't film every day.
I think the Apples may have had a little more time to get things sorted.
Yeah.
And they also used like old competition dances that she speak that they knew. Like we were like cranking them out.
Yeah. Like in 3 days. So.
Honestly. And you can attest to that because everyone always thinks that's made up. I'm like, oh no.
Oh no. Like, because frankly, with some of the like girls forgetting the dances, a lot of times I thought that was happening more just because I remember being with like Gianna and Abby where they'd be like, okay, Chloe, now remember that one, the 1-8 counts from this dance, do that here.
Yeah.
And I think just with like,
it gets you confused.
Yeah.
I mean, like the girls were really good about being able to pick up dances, but I think it's also like with everything going on because there's pressure. And you're on TV, and you are at a competition, and
your mom's being a psychopath.
I didn't say that. So yeah, I mean, I think that did weigh into when the girls did.
Chloe has said a million times that one of the hardest things to remember is because all the steps were the same. Is like last week I did
a different order.
Yeah, like a different order. And this week it's a different order. And she would be like, oh, like your brain. And so that's why it pisses me off when Abby's always like, Maddie, you're so good at picking up. Those girls were like professional, all of them. They picked up. It was incredible to watch them like know it. I used to be astounded at them.
Yep. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp.
When you're at your best, you can do great things, but sometimes life gets you bogged down and you may feel overwhelmed or like you're not showing up in the way that you want to. Kelly, have you ever felt this way?
Absolutely. How about you?
Yes. And
every time I watch the show.
Definitely. And working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of yourself.
Yeah, because you feel empowered and like you prepared to take everything that life throws at you.
Exactly. I have learned so much through therapy and things like positive coping skills, how to set boundaries. Boundaries are a great thing. And like you said, it does empower you to feel like you are the best version of yourself. So if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option.
It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge.
If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/bar today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/bar, BARRE. And Kathy is at interview and she says that Abby is still dancing in the 40s. Like she's on stage with her mom. And but their routine is heartfelt, and she thinks that they're going to be able to beat us at Starbound. And then we go back to the ALDC. We're at rehearsals in New York City. And Abby tells the girls to pick up something from their solos and like just practice it and do it. That's what they're going to do for their audition, which I think was totally a thing of crap.
Oh,
Like,
a crock of shit.
I mean, who in the hell goes to Joffrey and does a chin
Backwards?
stand and you turn around on your chin and bent in half and stuff like, I mean, or a handstand press. Paige did a handstand press. Like, who does that shit? I mean, they could have done like a ballet move. They do know how to do that, but everybody did gymnastics except for Chloe and Maddie.
Mm-hmm. Why was that intentional, James? By you guys or her?
No, that's not.
You guys,
I would think that was you guys, because I mean, I've known Abby my whole life. I seriously do not think that Abby would think gymnastics was appropriate for the Joffrey.
Yeah.
She's smarter than that.
I mean, the thing is, like, if someone else gave her that directive, I wasn't a part of it.
you are not a part of it. Yeah. And that's
Because I mean, like,
that's
no, I
the
mean, like,
thing.
that's
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
people accuse us of like, oh, you didn't talk about this and you're lying about that. And I'm like, no, that I'm telling you things from my perspective or how I remember it or the information I was privy to. I don't know a lot of things that other people had in conversations. I'm telling you what I remember. So totally fair if you didn't know that.
yeah. Yeah.
because, like, you know, as far as the structure goes, you had like the execs back in LA. Then, you know, I had an executive producer that was above me, and that,
Yeah.
like, you know, the number of times when I would, like, Abby was very fond of, like, if she felt like something wasn't going her way, she would start text messages. And so there was a lot of times when I would get like a string of text messages, and then I'd be like, who's the 201 number? And they're like, oh, that's the head of Lifetime. I was like, okay, who's the 212
lovely.
number? And they're like, oh, it's like the head of Lifetime's parent company. I was all like, great. I'm glad to be privy to these people's phone numbers, and that Abby's angry.
And she's talking about what a fucking idiot you are to them, and you're CC'd in it.
Yeah, I'm all like, oh, sure, thanks, Abs.
Thanks. All I'm going to say is, I hated any time that we were on the road that there was not an observation mezzanine that we had to sit in the room. That was like my hell. That was always my hell.
I mean, it was torturous, because I know it's bad for you in particular, the moms in particular, because you would have the producer saying, like, talk about what you're seeing, but then you're like, I can't really let all that be known, because I would start screaming, and then Abby would yell at me because I'm distracting my daughter from learning a dance.
Right.
So
and then the daughter will get in trouble,
and then the daughter gets in trouble, and then so I know it's a fraught relationship as a whole.
Yeah.
The other thing that I can remember about this particular week in New York, so it was the year that the Giants and the Patriots were in the Super Bowl.
God, yes, I remember that.
And Madonna was the
Yes.
halftime show.
yeah.
And so, me being me, I went with a bunch of the gay friends to one of the bars, because we all had to watch, you know, our queen Madonna perform at the halftime show, because Lord knows, like,
selfish bitch.
9 times
Where
out of 10.
was our invite?
Exactly. We would have been
that.
the life of the party.
Oh,
Good God, James.
oh, I took you guys out several times, and we were definitely the bells of the balls at various bars across the United States.
I mean, look, a gay club loves a dance mom. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been proven. But so we do so Sunday night I watched the Super Bowl with my friends, watch Madonna, and the Giants pull out a win, which was kind of totally unexpected.
Yeah.
So
Totally
I was in
remember.
Hell's Kitchen, which is an avenue or two away from Times Square.
Yeah.
And you could hear Times Square was going completely just nuts. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk back to our hotel, which was 34th and 5th, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm walking across the street and this car starts turning. And I'm looking at this guy and I'm all like, this motherfucker's coming right at me. But it was kind of slow motion. And so I'm like, what is happening? And literally the dude totally runs right into me. I jump on the hood.
By a car.
I got hit by a car.
Oh my God.
Jump up on the hood, slid up the hood and slammed my haunch and my ankle broke his side view mirror off.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, you don't have a haunch. You're better than that. Don't claim a haunch.
On my side of my ass.
Yeah.
So, and this guy just kind of drifts down the street. And so I let my full inner New Yorker out and I run up to the car and I'm like, what the fuck? Banging on the door. And I'm all you asshole. And this dude, this is literally the look I get from him.
Oh, so he's a little bit drunk.
Out of his mind. And I was all oh, okay.
His eyes are rolling back in his head.
Yeah.
I was all sir, you should not be driving back to Long Island right now.
Yeah, because you just ran me over.
Yeah. So
How
he
do you know he's from Long Island?
Did you get the cops or anything?
No, I mean, it was one of those where I was all it happens.
You weren't
and you're
really hurt.
At the time, I wasn't really hurt. I was oh, whatever, you're drunk ass, fuck off. So I stumble back to the hotel because I'm because it starts to pain a little bit as. So getting back to the point, this was on the rehearsal studio. It was on the second floor, the place where we had because we have Video Village where we can watch what the cameras are seeing. That was on the third floor. So I'd have to run up and down from the third floor to the second floor to third floor, keep on going to get directives from, the people in the control room, come down to you, talk. So I have a big bruise on my ass and my ankle is messed up. And so I'm limping. And Melissa's all James, what's going on? Why are you having such trouble? And I was all hit by a fucking car last night. And I had later the next day I was taking a shower and we had really weird mirrors.
I remember.
And I looked and it was my entire butt was just one ginormous bruise. Which I think I took a picture of it and I think I showed you, but so that's my.
Meanwhile, Melissa was concerned about you and Kelly and I were could you get us another mommy juice and a coffee?
Or why didn't you take us to the?
Yeah, why did you take us? We wanted to go to the party.
Yeah.
My bad.
Oh, well.
Well, I'm glad to know that your haunch recovered.
Yes.
It did. It took a little while.
I didn't know that.
You know you got hit by a car.
I didn't know that you got hit. At least I don't remember.
I remember discussing it with Paige and Brooke in an interview that week.
That's pretty funny though. You got hit by a car.
Yeah, that's crazy. I block out a lot of things, James. I don't remember a lot of stuff.
There's something to be said for selective memory at times.
Yeah, I definitely only remember a little bit. Okay, so let's get back to this now. Abby's at interview. And she says, I think just walking into the Joffrey School is going to be tough for these kids. They aren't little Trinas. They don't take ballet class every day, all day long. And she thinks they're going to be intimidated, frightened, and nervous wrecks. But she hopes that the mothers are nervous, frightened enough to keep their mouths shut. I don't think we are ever nervous enough to keep our mouths shut.
Well, I might be, but then we have people like James telling us, Christi, we need to hear from you.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the thing with you guys in particular was, as Christi showed earlier, you didn't hide, your facial reactions were always okay, Kelly.
Yeah, we talked with our eyes. Yeah, for sure.
Why'd you give that look?
Yeah. Abby says that tells the girls you're going to be in front of people that have had great careers, and you don't want to walk in there and be a big joke, or they're going to laugh at you when you go home tonight. Like, who cares? Like, why does she need to say that shit? But Holly says that everyone is nervous about the audition due to the lack of ballet background. So there's more pressure this week than they're normally used to. And Abby says, where do you think an arabesque should be? And they're all doing like their arabesques and like showing Abby. And down here is where yours is. And she says, no, at least it needs to be parallel to the floor. And Holly points out to the moms that they can't do a crash course in ballet this fast. And I agree with her. And like, you can't fix 2 years of no ballet training in 1 hour, which is what we tried to do.
Yes. Voices of reason, per usual. You.
Yeah.
Kidding.
So Holly says that, you know, is there some type of special dance wear that she wants us to have? Because like what will complement their body types and stuff like that. So
I love Holly being like, Abby, could you please look at each individual girl and let us know what particular strengths or weaknesses you would like us to accentuate? And Abby's like, Holly, you are being combative. Stop talking.
yeah.
Stop asking me questions. You're threatening me.
So then Abby takes, she says that they should have like long legs. They should show their long legs. So they should be high cut. Their legs should look long and their torso should look short. So she grabs Paige and she says, like, this outfit is cute and it gives her no problems. But she grabs her booty shorts and hikes it up like it would be a high cut leotard. And she's, she says that that's the way it should be. And
like, you just showed my ass cheek on my haunch. You just showed my haunch on TV.
Yes. So Holly goes to interview and she says that she doesn't know the look for a New York style dancer. So it's Abby's responsibility to communicate her vision. And Abby says that all this stuff is taking away from their dancing. The cute outfits they wear are taking away from their dancing. It's like we're trying to sell the outfit, not, be good dancers. Which half the time, I think we probably were worried about our outfits because we wanted to look cute. They were on TV.
All of you need to stop with these crazy outfits. And if you actually paid attention, every single girl turned and looked at us like it's their fault.
Like, Mom, you made me wear that. You told me to wear that today. So then you see us guys, we're walking down the street and we're going into Sancha dancewear store.
I'm eating Swedish fish that I'm making swim. I just want to point out.
Oh, I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in an interview, Christi, saying that if shopping for Black Leos will quiet Abby down, let's do it. And Melissa goes in and she's talking to the sales associate and she's telling her everything Abby said, like we want it high cut and everything. I say we didn't know that we were supposed to bring 900 black leotards. And Melissa was like, I brought 2. Holly's like, she's so particular about what the fit is and what the colors are. And Christi, you say you don't think those leotards are going to satisfy Abby.
I like when the sales associate goes to Melissa, too basic. And Melissa's like, prettier. Like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Prettier.
Well, they all kind of look the same. I remember us trying to get things that had different necklines or something, just so everything didn't look the same. You kind of wanted your child to stand out, but it was kind of difficult. I don't think they had many choices.
No, and at home we each probably had 400 black leotards.
Yeah. But so you're in an interview and you say that the shopping trip went well. We found leotards and tights and slippers. So Christi, you're saying that she's so specific about what leotard can do for your body. Maybe she ought to ask if they have one in Abby's size.
Oh, and James left because I'm thinking he told me to say that. We're going to ask.
But do you want to wait? We can wait for him.
No. I did like your outfit in this scene though. You had like a blouse with like a black blazer and like a gold, like thicker necklace.
I almost wore that today.
I like that.
The shirt had a zipper down the front.
Yeah.
I needed to iron the shirt. That's why I didn't wear it.
Yeah, I get that. I feel you. I don't iron it shit. But you tell me that they don't make leotards in that size.
I know. I probably got a million hate things from that.
I'm sure of it.
But we were trying to add light to the
sure.
You know what I mean? Like trying to
I
do
mean, look,
something funny.
we could have
And-
said that about ourselves.
Yeah. But she says it about our kids all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like, why does my kid like hold her belly and wear a t-shirt all the time? Because Abby says that about her. So
Right.
I feel if she says it about my 11-year-old, 13-year-old, I can say it about her.
Absolutely.
But then we go to candy apples, and Kathy, did you see her purple eyeshadow?
Yes.
I mean, it was like she was on stage.
I
with
was
that.
like, Kathy got the memo.
Oh my God, it was horrible. It
And
was like,
glittery.
it was horrible.
Yeah.
But Kathy tells Kendall that the candy apple dancers have a certain aura about them when they walk into a competition. And then she says in the interview that she thinks Kendall is ready to audition for the scholarship at the Joffrey Ballet School. And she
Yay.
bends down and tells Kendall, you know, that she's a spectacular dancer. And this is where Jill's poof is really outrageous.
It is out of control. It was outrageous. It was literally, she looked like a dinosaur, like that dinosaur that
Yeah.
has a big thing on the side.
It was crazy.
It was like, wah. It was wild. It was a wild poof situation. I need to know what she puts in that thing. Are you standing, James? I think he's standing.
Are you standing?
Yeah.
This whole time?
Yeah.
Why? Are you crazy? I'm in bed.
Atta girl.
I'm in my
I
bed.
was trying to find a better background. I didn't want
Oh
to
my
be
God,
like,
look at mine. Who gives a
Super-
shit?
Mine's
People
messy.
laugh at me all the time and they're like, I look like where was I here, Chrissy?
Like they say that it looks like, well, not in this one because I'm not on my home computer, but when I'm on my home computer, it says I look like I'm a news anchor and Kelly looks like she's a remote correspondent in Afghanistan.
I don't care. If you don't like it, don't watch me.
Yeah.
Kelly Highland here reporting from
Yes.
Live from my
Florida.
bed.
Yes, because this was a war zone here. ALDC, I was in war zone.
It was a war zone.
So that's why I
Jeez.
have this background.
It is a war zone. We
Yeah.
all feel like we have like honestly war PTSD for sure.
Yes. But James,
Oh.
while you were gone, we are at Candy Apples now, and we were discussing that Kathy had some crazy ass purple eyeshadow on, and Jill had a crazy poof.
Her poof was, I needed to know what she put in that poof to get it to look like
They had them bump it, but
She
it was like
never
a big
used a
bump it.
it. It was
I don't
bigger
know.
than a bump it, Cal.
I
It
don't
was-
know.
I think it had its own zip code.
It defied gravity. She is Idina Menzel.
Yeah. Okay, so Kendall's in interview. She says she's nervous to perform in front of the ballet judge. She's used to audition like an audience in a big room, you know, just in front of a couple judges. And Kathy says you have to rise to the occasion. You know, cream rises to the top, so that's why we're all going to have a latte.
Where
you
did
guys
she
have
come up with
lattes?
this shit off the fly? She's actually really funny with off the fly, off the cuff
Mhm.
shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're gonna have ourselves a latte. Great.
Yes.
Yeah, she would say things that I would just be like, okay, sure. Like,
We'll go with that. Sounds good to me.
She
So
really
that-
did come up with some stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So then we go back to the ALDC rehearsals and we see Chloe working on her solo. And Chloe says in her interview that she's excited to do a solo because she's finally the Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland. And she's been waiting for that forever.
She was obsessed with that movie. With
Really?
Johnny Depp. Oh my God, she loved that Alice in Wonderland. Loved it. So
Well,
yeah,
how about-
she's excited.
How about Abby in her interview? She says, Chloe relates to darkness and
And
viciousness and the evil aspect of playing the dark character. Like, come on. It's easy for a kid to smile and be happy. Being evil, insightful, and acting for the judges gives them more to work with.
Yeah. She did say that it gives her a storyline to follow, and that's where Chloe shines.
Yeah.
I actually wrote the word whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. You guys must have told her to say it. It was a pickup. I'm just teasing.
So then we go to Maddie's solo, and Abby tells Maddie that she has one day to learn her solo since the Joffrey audition is tomorrow.
Which that's what we always all had.
Yes, but Maddie didn't in one day
No, Maddie always knew it or learned
Ahead
it
of time,
before time.
from her privates.
Right.
but everybody else learned it in
We
one day.
still talk about that.
Oh,
James is like,
the-
oh God, I'm going to shut up.
the scandal
Yes.
of Maddie's ongoing private.
Her secret
Her
lessons.
private. She
Well, I
would
mean-
sometimes do choreography in the studio with Gianna before Gianna would give it. She knew what came next before Gianna taught it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
like,
would see it and
They
we'd
would
be
think
like,
that, I mean, you could see it on the camera. They just edited that crap out, but we sat there and watched it. So that's why we would get so irritated.
I hear and validate your frustrations, but you know, when we would show up to start a day of filming and you know
They were
we'd
already
walk
there.
in and you know Maddie's already there learning choreography. That's not,
What can
you know,
do?
I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I'm like, hey Melissa, don't do that. And
Yeah.
Melissa's
Good luck.
like, yeah.
good luck.
But it just made us all look stupid. And I'm
Oh.
so glad that you're like verifying that, because we
Yeah.
say it and everybody just thinks we're jealous and they think that Maddie is an amazing learner and our kids are stupid and they can't learn fast. I mean, how many times, James, I don't know if you were there, but like Paige didn't get her music until the morning of the competition. Like, how can you
I
like know your
remember
dance?
hearing about that.
Yeah, it's
I wasn't there
bullshit.
for that. That's
They're setting them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, how fair is it? Okay, Maddie, no wonder Maddie won. She learned her dance a whole week ahead of time, every day in privates, plus her rehearsal time. And Paige gets her music the day of. Of course, Maddie's going to win.
And honestly, the way I look at it, if and I say this all the time, there's absolutely no denying the fact that Maddie is a spectacularly talented
Oh,
person.
absolutely.
But what my point is give them all a fair chance. And if she's that much better than everybody, she's still going to win.
They should be on
She's still
equal
going to win.
playing
you know?
fields. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I kind of got off a topic here.
Well, not
Maddie's
shocked,
in
we all do.
Maddie's in an interview and she tells us that she tells us about her solo and she loves the song and she loves the choreography. And Abby's in an interview and says that this is a stellar routine that's right up Maddie's alley. It has all the elements she needs. It has her jumps, her turns, her transitions are lovely. And then they show Maddie practicing and she's trying to do a new turn. But she stops and makes a face and says that it's not perfect. But Abby says it's hard to get to the top of the pyramid, but it's even. And she waited for Maddie to say even harder to stay there. And as Abby says, game on, and her and Abby do high fives. So then we are 2 days to the Starbound competition and we are at rehearsals and Abby screams at the girls, tells them you have 2 days to compete. And that's where Abby's ring looks like the ring pop. And Abby's in an interview and she says, I really need my girls to turn it on and turn it up. She's sick of the group routines not placing in the top overall for the last few weeks. And they have a few hours to rehearse and they better get it perfect.
No pressure, girls.
No. So Abby tells the girls to get their dance bags and put on their jazz shoes. And Melissa's like, shit, I don't have my kids' dance bags. And Maddie walks over to her mom and says, you know, she don't have her shoes. And Melissa tells Maddie, go tell Abby that you and Kenzie left your shoes on the couch. And Maddie starts to cry. Melissa's, you know, don't start crying. I'm not in the mood for this today. And she says, you know, if she gets upset, she don't care.
Mhm.
So Abby screams, girls, let's go. And Melissa hollers out to Abby that the girls left their dance bags at the hotel. And she says that, you know, Maddie is not perfect, that everybody makes mistakes. And
I don't know if you know, we would have gotten in trouble for this. Okay, what unfolds here isn't quite the same caliber of where the fight would have escalated had Chloe Brooker Page not had their dance back. I'm just surmising.
Yes. Yes.
I too think that if Paige would have left her dance bag at the lobby of the hotel, that it would have been holy hell raining down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is an example of what I would say with any of the unscripted reality shows. This is kind of a fortuitous event. Melissa
Yeah,
really
It
left
really just happened.
Melissa really left the bag in the hotel room, in the hotel. Abby in scene says, get your dance bag, and Maddie doesn't have it. So did we script that? No. Did we
Follow it? Yes.
follow the story as it happened? Yes. Does it end up, spoiler alert, does this end up being something that we can narratively point to at the end of the episode as to like why that episode turned out the way it did? Yes. Did we script any of that? No.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you guys kind of went by whatever happened, and stuff always was happening.
And so that's the thing, like that, when we do like set up the pyramids with Abby every week, that's kind of like the base outlines of like, these are some of the stories that we're going to follow as far as like what dances are happening, knowing full well that as the girls learn the dances, as Abby makes demands of costumes to you and props and such, that will cause storylines that we can follow.
And that's why you guys never gave me a costume, because you knew I would flip out. And I wish I could go back now and not react to that, because my kids only had that costume one time. One time did they have a custom solo costume, and that was the very end, because I was like done. But that's because I reacted to it.
Yeah, you did react to it.
Yeah.
Well,
Just like I would react to like Chloe having shitty choreography or not enough time. Like they knew that,
Yep. If we could go back and do it again, Christi, I would just be like nice as pie, and like, I love that my kid has to wear a leotard to dance on stage today. And everybody else has a custom made $3,000 costume. I think it's perfect. I would totally do that if I came back. I'd have to have myself on some kind of drug to make me calm, but I would do it.
I was going to say, what kind of drugs are you taking?
Xanax, Kelly.
Yeah, I needed some of that. Okay, so then we have the back and forth. I guess I'll read this because you say it's pretty important of how it came out. But Melissa says that it's totally her fault, and Abby says it's not your fault. It's Maddie's dance bag. And Melissa said, every kid makes mistakes, Abby, so it's my fault. I should have checked. And Abby says, I don't want Maddie to make mistakes. And when you get here, Melissa interrupts and says, nobody's perfect. She's like, there are kids here that are 14 and 15 living on their own, paying their own bills. And you guys get here and you can't call your mom. So when you walk into an audition, it's your responsibility, not your mother's. And Melissa's like, it's a pair of shoes. Who cares? And I have a question.
Insert you or I into this. Like, take her out, insert.
Well, he said Paige would be.
I know, but could you imagine if I was like, who cares? It's just a pair of shoes. She'd be like, "Wah!" Like she would turn around and abuse my daughter.
Yeah.
Or yours or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just wrote, could you imagine?
Yep. But Melissa's in an interview and she says, Abby puts a lot of pressure on Maddie. Maddie's a perfectionist and she's very hard on herself. And Melissa tells Maddie to stop making that face. She's not in the mood. And Melissa leaves the room and Abby goes and follows her. Then we go to you. Hello, note to Melissa in Parenting 101. If your daughter forgets some ballet slippers, don't flip out or stress out. It's a couple of dollars for new ballet shoes. Run down the street and get her a new pair. Meanwhile, like we were in New York City. Like
I was just gonna say,
you could buy a pair of ballet shoes at every corner, basically.
It's true.
Yeah. So in the hallway, we see Abby and Melissa yelling back and forth, and Abby says
they were yelling. They were discussing things. Yelling is like, I'm the god, get on your knees and pray to me, bitch, or whatever she said to Holly later. Or was that me? I can't recall.
I don't remember. But so Abby says that your kids are in there and their brain isn't in her head because she's because in the back of her head, she's thinking about like, where's my bag? So Abby says, again, this is about your kid having an audition tomorrow and her brain isn't in her head and she's not focused on the routine. This is, again, Abby is sticking up for Maddie. and saying that she's flustered because she doesn't have her dance bag and it's okay. And Abby wants her to have her brain in her head. But when Paige doesn't have her music because Abby screwed it up, Paige shouldn't be flustered and she should be right on it.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I would get aggravated.
Kelly, are you saying there's a double standard?
Yes.
Oh,
And
my.
I'm getting more flustered as I'm sitting here.
I see your chest getting all red.
Yes.
James is watching you spiral.
Oh,
It
my
sounds like she's gonna be
God.
by a dumpster.
He wasn't there for the dumpster, was he?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
Were you there for
When
that,
Kelly
James?
locked herself outside next to the dumpster.
It was in LA, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
when we
yes.
yeah.
And
I was-
you guys wouldn't get me a cab ride home. I just wanted out of that place. You people like held me hostage
You
in
were
a dumpster.
you were having one meltdown and I was having a separate,
Yes.
unrelated meltdown.
My meltdown was with Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
You
No, never.
barricaded yourself in with like a folding lawn chair and a dumpster. It
I know.
was-
And Holly's like, and all the moms are like, Kelly, you really should move because you're being filmed in front of a dumpster. I could have cared less. I'm like, I don't care if I have rats crawling on me.
well, there
I
was a
just
giant
want
bug that
out
kept
of
flying
here.
around us.
Ah, God. God almighty. No wonder why I had to drink, people.
Yeah. Oh, I actually wrote, why isn't she screaming at Maddie? Like rhetorically, because she would have been screaming at any other child. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So Abby's in an interview. She says they don't have time for this. And Maddie's flustered and it's like costing time that they don't have. And Abby says, if the group dance loses again, she's finished. So we see the group dance.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, exactly. We see the group rehearsal and Abby's telling the girls that to be nasty, bitter, and mean, that they're playing a part. And Abby's shouting out corrections and, doing things with their props. And Chloe says, it's scary to think about being jailbirds. You have to set aside and focus on dancing and acting.
James, I have a question.
Yes.
Who made those props?
That I like, they were terrible.
They were
So wobbly and stuff. And Paige gets in trouble, I think, because her prop does something, like moves or something. Meanwhile, they were like the flimsiest things. If you touched them, they were like,
I say, when you see us watching the dance, like with faces, it's because those props sucked. Those
No,
props
I mean,
sucked.
they were terrible.
They were
Yes.
horrible.
I don't know if it was the problem of us being away from Pittsburgh and it's harder to get things to construct
yeah,
in
to know people
in
New York
Manhattan, I
City.
guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, in watching it, I was all like, wow,
It was a train wreck.
I mean, it was a train wreck generally, but I was like,
Yeah.
well, those props are sure.
Pieces
So
of
they-
shit.
Yeah. But I'm in interview and I say that the girls are sweet and it's hard for them to dance behind jail bars, which I think somebody told me to say that. And Abby's in interview and she says, this is the last rehearsal before we go to the audition and the competition and they're not ready.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. And Abby reminds us all that the audition is tomorrow and how many people they're going to be up against. And she said, everybody wants it and everybody wants it bad. And that it's a big deal. She wants all three of those ballet teachers to know how talented the children from the ALDC are
Oh,
and to do not walk in there and embarrass her.
Which I'd say, if you don't want to embarrass yourself or you don't want to have your students embarrass themselves, and by the reflective property, you might want to not tell Brooke to go in and do one of her
acrobatic routines. Yeah, that's what I said to you earlier.
No, I know.
It
But
was,
like it's
it was like on purpose. You don't go into a Joffrey thing and do that. They probably were like, what is going on?
yep. Yeah.
And I said every single kid had gymnastics in their dance except for Chloe and Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
So we pretty much knew. I mean, I was a dancer. I knew what Joffrey was. I pretty much knew, and my kids knew right off the bat, you are not being chosen for this scholarship because your dance is not a ballet dance.
Now, to be fair, this is the one time when Chloe not being an acrobat actually paid off. 'Cause she
Exactly,
wouldn't
yeah.
have any
Yeah.
acro in her dance.
Yeah. Ah. Where are we? So you're at an interview,
Dinner.
Chrissy, and you say that the group routine is a hot mess and it's like a train wreck and I'm trapped in dance jail and I can't get out.
And I'm wearing a jailbird shirt.
Where are you?
I was. And I've been wearing a jailbird shirt right now too.
That's what I was just going to say. You have one on now.
Little jailbird.
So we're sitting up there and we're sitting there and we're saying how stressful it is to sit in rehearsal and watch Abby treat our kids that way. And we say that Abby brings the worst out in the kids. And Holly says she doesn't expect Nia to win the Joffrey scholarship, but it's hard to encourage her daughter to do well when she doesn't get her, like she doesn't want to get her hopes up too high by telling her to go in and do well. But Holly and I pretty much basically knew we are wasting our time being here. And then Holly's in an interview. And did you see Holly's eyeliner?
Yes. And her eyelashes.
Holly like never wore very much makeup, but today she was like stage ready. She looked good.
She was Glamazon Holly. Dr.
Yeah.
Holly showed up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But so she's in an interview. She just repeats like what we were talking about at dinner. And she says that she cares about the audition because it means something to her daughter. And then we go back to the conversation of the fight over the dance bags. And Holly's still trying to figure out what happened. And I'm sitting there and I say, I swear I heard Maddie ask Melissa if she had the dance bag. And
assholes here.
huh?
You assholes in this scene.
Why?
You start accusing me of stealing the
I
bag.
know, but you would do that. Like a Tonya
Would not.
Harding kind of thing.
Never.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
would not.
But no, but I seriously do. I remember that. Like, because my kids always like were sitting with Maddie and stuff. And I remember Maddie saying, as we were sitting there, Mom, do you have my dance bag? And then Melissa blamed it on Maddie for leaving it in there. But I think it was Melissa.
I'm sure. But isn't that funny that Melissa threw her kids under the bus?
Yeah.
I
But-
didn't do it.
So I sit there and I'm jokingly saying, I think we should steal their bags.
Yeah.
And me and Holly laugh. And I say that next time we'll steal their bags so they get in trouble again. Because we like them getting in trouble. Isn't that
was
bad that I
great.
say that?
No.
But
It's
they
great
never
that
get
it's
in
not
trouble. We always do. So then Holly asked you if you had their bags, which I thought was
didn't.
really funny. And I said, I never see them get in trouble for anything. And Holly says, who had the Ziegler's dance bags? And you're like acting all innocent. I don't know. I don't have them. And I said that you probably had them hidden up in your room. And then you're like saying, oh, well, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, you might have.
Maybe I
You
did.
might have. You probably hid them under like the chair somewhere.
I did not. I did no such thing.
Yes.
My name's not Melissa. She's the one who would do shit like that, not me.
Okay, everybody, we have a fur.
Oh, fur.
Abby
Kelly,
is wearing fur.
Should we stop the first half of this after the Joffrey audition? Do you think that's a good place to stop? And then we'll pick back up next week with the second half?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we're getting pretty lengthy here with this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can
Stop
stop
the
whenever
door
you,
after party,
do you want to
please.
stop now? Because we're just
You can.
we're just going into the Joffrey. James, do you want to stop now?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, we will
It's a good
stop.
it's a good cliffhanger. I wonder what's going to happen to the Joffrey audition.
Oh,
Yes.
Who knows? Who knows? Well, okay. So normally at the end, of the whole episode, we have a couple of things that we typically do, but obviously this is the War and Peace of
Crazy
Moms episode. It really is.
This,
So
going back and rewatching this one, I was all like, holy shit, this is
There's
There's
a
a lot
lot
of-
of stuff. Yeah.
it's a lot of ground we covered in this one. Like,
and it's
let's
a lot to
let's be real.
unpack emotionally.
Yeah.
I am emotionally exhausted by the end of this. So how many drinks did you need to get through the first half? I thought the first half was pretty easy for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I
James,
needed
did you need
any.
drinks. You got hit by a car.
I got
Yeah,
hit by
you
a
needed
car.
a lot.
You got hit by a car. So
Yeah, you needed a lot, James.
I think I won the drink count.
Yes,
You won the
definitely.
All right. Who had the worst outfit? Bottom of the pyramid for mom's outfits.
I don't know.
I think Jill's bump just wins. That thing
Yeah.
was expensive.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. And Kathy's purple eyeshadow.
Oh yeah.
That was
That's
pretty bad
terrible.
too. I mean, it's not an outfit, but it was pretty bad.
Jill's bump isn't an outfit either, but that thing was like
Yeah.
here. All right.
Okay, who's at the top?
I liked your outfit when we went to the Sancha store.
The white dress shirt
Yeah, I did
with
like
the
that.
blazer.
Yeah. That was probably
Okay.
the least offensive thing out of any. There's some real freaking doozies that come up in these episodes.
Yes.
Did you have any misdemeanors or felonies?
I don't think so.
I think just our disgusted looks. Those are pretty misdemeanors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And maybe that we weren't smart enough to know that we should have had on a leotard and tights because it was a ballet week, I guess.
Oh, for God's sake.
We probably should have
Do you have
known
any
that.
misdemeanors? Were you
I
behaving
mean-
behind the scenes?
No, he was going out without us.
True. That's a felony. Felony.
Yes.
Okay.
You lose, James.
I own the felony for the first half of the week.
Any favorite quotes so far?
I liked that when Paige said, "It's weird being in jail because I've never been there before."
That was probably my favorite one too.
Yeah.
Although I did like when I said, "Oh, look, the pyramid has followed us to Manhattan." Yay.
Yeah. Yeah.
For God's sakes. All right. Well, then we are going to wrap up this episode and we are going to catch you guys over on Patreon on the after show. And we will be back next week to wrap up the cliffhanger that is Abby getting the Joffrey scholarship and all of the things. There is a lot.
Yay. Well, thank you,
Starbound.
James, for coming on.
Yes.
Of course.
It was so good to
anytime.
see you. I think it's been like 8 or 9 years since I've
It's-
seen you.
I think it's been about that long. 'Cause
Yeah.
I saw Brooke.
You went to
When-
brunch with Brooke and I and Chloe and
Yeah.
Teresa.
And
Yeah.
that was kind of amazing because it was
They
really
are
good to
Yeah.
see.
there.
Well, we'll have to get together.
Yes, please. I would love that.
Yeah,
James is
definitely.
retired from ruining people's lives in reality TV. So
Good.
yes.
Good.
You're better than
You're
that.
too
James.
nice for that. Yes.
The nail in the coffin for me was, I think, Maddie forgot her dance again later on. I remember the one time when like Maddie forgot something and she hugged me because I was the one that was like right off stage.
Yeah.
And everyone in like, because we had to wear headsets, to like
Yeah.
get communications. And everyone started screaming at me like, let go of her, let go of her, let go of her. And I was all like,
Yeah. Like I'm
Just
just trying to
little-
comfort her. She's upset.
there's a little girl that's kind of upset right now.
Because you're
and-
human,
Yeah.
James. You're
Sorry.
human. And that's why everybody liked you, because some of the
Yeah.
other ones were not human.
No.
I mean, it's a 9-year-old little girl, like,
Yeah.
and they could be so hard with them. It's I don't
Oh,
understand how humans can be that way, but they
Oh.
are.
But
yeah.
so
There
that's-
has to be a whole psychological deep dive on that. There has to be, I'm sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into it. We'll unpack it on the after party. All right. We'll
Okay.
catch you guys over on the after party on Patreon. Thank you, James.
Yay! Bye. Thanks for listening to Back to the Bar.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you love to listen to your podcasts.
And check out our YouTube channel, Back to the Bar, if you want to watch the episodes. The channel is linked in our show notes,
And if you want to join our weekly after party,
where we dish even more dirt.
like naked pizza, Kel, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/backtothebar. See you next time.
See you next time.
Baby, I just wanna dance, dance, dance.